Thank you for joining me as I discuss the mandibular lateral incisors. So, these are the second teeth on each side of the midline in the mandibular arc as shown in the diagram. Their function is to cut and bite into food, and by doing this, they initiate the process of chewing and digestion. A characteristic that allows for this function is their incisor sharp edge. They have some interesting facts, like they're actually larger than central incisors, mandibular central incisors, which is something that people wouldn't normally expect. And also, they have no variations. All mandibular lateral incisors are the same. They have no variations. And they have one root and one canal or two canals. Their eruption sequence is as follows. The first evidence of calcification is seen at 3 to 4 months, and the enamel completes at 4 to 5 years, and the actual tooth it erodes at 7 to 8 years old, and the root completes at 10 years. The mandibular lateral incisor has 5 tooth surfaces. The first one being the lingual. This is the surface that is facing the tongue, followed by the labial, which is on the opposite side of the lingual, and it faces the lips. We also have the mesial surface, which is the surface that is facing towards the midline, and the distal, which is the opposite, it's facing away from the midline, towards the back of the mouth. And finally, we have the incisal surface, which is the biting surface. This is how the different surfaces look with the root involved. According to the FDI, this is how the teeth are numbered. The left mandibular lateral incisor is 3-2, and the right one is 4-2 on permanent teeth. On deciduous teeth, the one on the left is 7-2, and the one on the right is 8-2. Now I'm going to discuss the measurements of the teeth. When we look at the teeth on the labial view, the surface that is facing the mouth, we see a crown length of 9.5 millimeters and a root length of 14 millimeters. And the distance from the mesial side to the distal side, still on the labial view, is 5.5 millimeters, and we call this the mesio-distal dimension. When we look at the tooth on the mesial view, we see a labiolingual dimension of 6.5 millimeters, and this is the distance from the lingual side to the labial side. Now I'm going to discuss the crown morphology of the tooth. When we look at the labial aspect, the outline of the crown has a trapezium shape. The mesial outline is straight, but the distal outline is a bit convex, but a little more to straight. The incisal surface, it is straight and it's sharp, but it is not horizontal. It is tilted, and it tilts to the mesial side, to the distal side of the tooth. And later I will discuss why it tilts. And they have a sharp mesio-incisal angle and also a sharp distal incisal angle. The labial surface is very smooth and it's flat. Now when we look at the tooth on the lingual aspect, its crown is a bit narrower than the labial view, but all the other features in the labial outline are the same in the lingual outline. What's different is that we see what we call a lingual fossa in the lingual outline, which is a concavity in the middle of the tooth. Now, on the mesial aspect, the outline of the crown has a triangle shape. And the labial outline gives us a convex shape, but the lingual outline, it is convex on the ends, but concave in the middle, and that gives us an S shape. The concave part in the middle is the lingual fossa that I've just discussed. The incisal On the apex, that is where we find the incisor ridge, and it is tilted to the lingual side. Now, when we look at the distal aspect, all the features in the mesial aspect, they're the same in the distal aspect. The only difference is that they are in a different direction. It's reversed. Now we're going to look at the incisor aspect. On this view, you cannot see the root. No part of the root is visible. The distance from the labial to the lingual side is greater than the distance from the mesial to the distal side. The labial side is very smooth and it's convex, but the lingual side gives us a V shape. And back to what I said, the incisor ridge is not straight. It's straight, but it's not horizontal. It twists, and this is the reason why it twists. It twists so that it can give the crown a twist over the root, so that when the mandibular arc curves, the mandibular lateral incisor can maintain a mesial contact with the central incisor and a distal contact with the canine. Now I'm going to look at the root morphology. The root of a mandibular lateral incisor has one root and one canal, as it can be seen. But there's a very common variation, and the only variation. That is when the root has two canals. One will be positioned lingually and the other will be positioned labially. Now, when we look at the root on a labial and lingual aspect, the root is smooth, it's conical, it narrows as it goes down, but the apex is tilted. When we look at the root at the mesial and distal, fuck.